Normans begin the assault. The English bravely fend off the attacks. Suddenly, the Normans seem to lose ground under enemy pressure. William rides ahead of the fleeing troops, halts them and cries out, "Look at me! I am alive and with God's help I shall conquer." Harold is killed. This event marks the end of the battle, sealing the Duke's victory. William is crowned King of England. My forefather is present at his coronation. His name is Guillaume de Crépon, and he is one of the Conqueror's great barons. I still live in Normandy, and amongst others am one of the descendants of this epic adventure. Join me and enter the legend. Following our Viking ancestors' very first incursions, for over a century we win one victory after another. In 911, the King of France grants us a new territory, Normandy. In 1027, Robert the Magnificent, soon to become Duke, pays frequent visits to Val-ès. He falls in love with Arlette, a young and alluring village girl. Arlette becomes the young prince's concubine, his thriller. During their first night together, Arlette has a premonitory dream.
"Lord, I dreamt that a tree came out of my body and grew up to the sky. The whole of Normandy was engulfed in its shadow."
Fair Arlette gives birth to a son called William. Before his death, Robert the Magnificent purposefully declares to the dukedom's nobility that his illegitimate son shall be his heir. This choice is approved by Henry I, King of France. The young orphan duke has already endured many a challenge when knighted at the age of only 15. In 1046, rebellious barons plot to assassinate William, who has come to hunt near Valognes. He narrowly escapes the knife of his would-be murderers. William flees across the marshes, bypassing Bayeux and eventually finding refuge in his castle in Falaise. In 1047, helped by the King of France, he succeeds in crushing the rebellious lord's army on the Val-ès-Dunes battlefield to the southeast of Caen near the River Orne. The day after his victory, William decides to strengthen his dukedom and found a dynasty. He marries Matilda of Flanders, the daughter of his most powerful neighbour. The King of France is exasperated by this, now too powerful vassal, and launches a campaign against Normandy. William attacks the king at Varaville on the River Dives. Some of his fleeing enemies rush to the bridge, which collapses. Others, terrified, prefer to jump into the river. Now in full control of his inheritance and sure of his frontiers, the young lord can devote himself to developing his dukedom. He creates the town of Caen, accessible by sea, builds his castle there, and founds two monasteries, the Women's Abbey and the Men's Abbey. This great empire builder is also an accomplished military and political leader. In 1064, Edward the Confessor, the aging King of England, has yet to declare an heir. He chooses his cousin William as his successor and entrusts Harold, a powerful Saxon lord, with the mission of informing him. In Bayeux, Harold swears allegiance to William on holy relics, committing himself to acknowledging William as King of England. When Edward dies, however, Harold has himself crowned King of England. With the help of his barons, William forms a mighty army and an immense fleet which he gathers in the Dives estuary in July 1066. Unfavourable winds drives William's armada towards Saint-Valery-sur-Somme. On the 28th of September 1066, the Normans finally land on English soil. The decisive battle takes place on the 14th of October at Hastings. Both armies fight bravely. William encourages his men. Harold is struck by an arrow in the eye and dies. The Normans cry victory. Immediately after the conquest, William builds palace keeps, strong fortresses at strategic locations throughout the kingdom. The newly settled Norman lords, brought by the Conqueror, can now suitably defend their land and their possessions. 20 years later, William orders a remarkable nationwide survey in England. Every house, every field, every meadow is recorded in the Domesday Book. William is growing old. He is weighed down by worries. His eldest son has joined forces with the King of France. William challenges them at Mont in a final cavalry assault. He is injured during the battle and dies in Rouen on the 9th of September 1087. Today, his body lies in the Abbey Church of Saint-Étienne in Caen. The Norman conquest of 1066 heralds a new era, bringing great wealth to William's descendants. During the mid-12th century, Henry Plantagenet, Duke of Normandy and King of England, rules over an empire stretching from Scotland to the Pyrenees. Other Normans set out to conquer southern Italy, establishing the Norman Kingdom of Sicily, hence extending their powers across the Mediterranean. In 1204, however, the King of France retrieves Normandy from John Lackland, consequently the last Duke King among the Conqueror's descendants. The Anglo-Norman saga lasted a total of 140 years. This epic adventure has left us with a story, traditions, art and architecture, all waiting to be discovered in sites around Calvados.